So the next one is from Sian. She got in touch and asked, how do you do finances with your partner, especially if one of you earns a lot more than the other?
With a lot of arguing. No, I mean, obviously, last year was very good for the crypto market, so I was making a lot more than my partner. Then this year the market crashed, and now she's making more than me. But I recently changed jobs, we'll get into that later. So now I'm making more than her. But for us, it's since we had a kid, we started worrying more about, I don't worry about anything, but she started worrying more about finances. So she's like, you need to leave crypto. It's not stable. We have a kid now. We need to invest. So we're setting up his ISA, which you're going to help us with.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to open a joint bank account for like savings and investments, so that she has a bit more transparency with what I'm putting our money into, because obviously I was previously just putting it all into crypto. So now obviously she's been watching the podcast, she loves it, and yeah, she wants us to.
You're treading carefully around this.
I'm treading very carefully, because once this goes live, I might be sleeping on the street. So yeah,
I might tell her about that other bank account you got, that Swiss bank account.
With all the gold bullion safe I've got. So yeah, right now we're looking at doing joint investments, obviously for a little baby. And yeah, I think transparency and talking about it, like we didn't really used to talk about it before. I'd be like, trust me, don't worry, it's all in crypto, we're going to be rich. But now since we've been on the podcast, we're being a bit more strategic and looking more long term, not just for us, because we're trying to buy a house as well, hopefully next year. So right now we're saving towards the house and also saving towards the little one.
The one thing that's obviously saved jointly for a child, because the child is one. From a perspective of investing together, I would always say invest in your own ISA and pension, just because if the relationship ever broke down, it's quite messy, and taking money, you can't take money out of a pension obviously, but taking money out of an ISA, you then lose the tax-free benefit. You've both got separate allowances, use them. You can both do the exact same thing in your own accounts, but it just gives you a little bit of ownership, and it means that both parties are covered, and that's cleaner. That's my personal view on it anyway. I earn more than my partner now. That wasn't the case in the past. She earned more than me. But for me, like, money's an important topic, obviously. So it's kind of like a non-negotiable in terms of discussion in the house, because I get pretty stressed out if I think that she's not doing well financially or struggling. So I set those boundaries pretty early on in terms of, or that expectation of, like, I need to kind of know what's going on a bit. I've had bad relationships in the past that were centered around one person being really reckless with money and me being the way I am, and that just like ruined my life. So I wouldn't do that again. My current partner though, she doesn't like talking about money. She's not a money person. So she can often, like, her business is in the beauty industry, and during lockdown they closed off her industry, but they gave her no support, so she just had no money. So for a while she was just struggling on, and then it was kind of like, well, how are you paying for things? She's like, I've got no money. And it's like, well, why didn't you tell me? So I had to then step in and pay for everything in the house for that 12-month period. She's back up and earning now and stuff, but those kind of conversations, I can get kind of like annoyed if they're like sprung on me at the last minute. It's like, but she's from a perspective of, I was trying to figure it out, I was trying to battle through it. So now it's a lot clearer of, if you're struggling, come to me and we can sort it out. And in the house, really, we have a joint account, and we both pay money into that.
For the household things.
Yeah, like all the bills, all of the costs for the house are in that account, and we both put money in, and then what you have is your own if you want. I encourage her to invest and save as well. She runs a business as well, so there's always investment within the business. But it's not a joint household mine. It is separate in ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a bit like your partner. I've never talked about money with any of my past relationships. This is the first time now, but that's only because I just had a kid that we're talking about finances. I think it's a bit like debt. A lot of people don't want it. If you're not doing well, you don't want to talk about it. And even if you are, I think it's quite a personal thing. So I've always kind of just never talked about it. Like, this is my money. You do what you want. You do your money, and everyone's happy.
How do you tackle the bills in the house?
So we just we like divvied them up. So like I do like Sky and like Wi-Fi, because I was like, we need all the sports channels so I can watch all my basketball. So I do all the Sky, Wi-Fi. She does like heating and electricity, and then we just split.
Oh, she got the bad ones.
Yeah. No, we got
The
a big,
Uno reverse.
we got a big Sky bill.
Okay.
It's like 100 and something a month.
Yeah.
Got all the channels. But now we're like, for the first time, we're talking about money because we've got a baby and like future investments. But it's not an easy topic, because you might have different ideas, different risk appetites. She's only ever invested in property, and I've really mainly done crypto and a little bit in the stock market. So we're trying to come to like a happy medium. We don't have any joint accounts like you guys, but we're thinking about opening one.
That's just easy then, because it's like you've got to pay X amount
a month
on this day, and then it all goes out, and then it's nice and clean. We have everything like the Netflix, the food shopping in there. So whenever one of us goes food shopping, we pick up the card and spend on that. You know, we know that there's like 400 quid a month for food or whatever in there. So, you know, it all goes into that, and then that means you fulfilled your responsibilities to the home in that sense.
Yeah. It is harder, especially like the second part of the question, when one of you earns more than the other. Obviously, the crypto market crashed this year, so for a while she was earning more than me, and I think that's the first time in my life my partner was earning more than me. So it was a bit, it's like a power shift a little bit. Like, it's a bit weird.
Only if you allow it to be that.
You don't allow it to be, but it's just like
it's
just a bit weird. Like, it's just yeah. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really bother me, but it was just a bit weird for a bit. But
yeah, she used to earn loads of money back in the day, and it never really bothered me.
So do you still put in 50-50 into the joint account, or do you put in a bit more?
We used to until a couple of months ago. Now I put in a bit more.
Is it proportional? Nah.
Probably not, no. If it was proportional, I'd pay most of it. Like, you know, I've always been of the view of like, when it comes to housing costs, it's a 50-50 burden, because, you know, we live in this house together, and just because when she earned more, I didn't ask her to pay more into the house. But now I kind of see from the perspective of, okay, you know, I can afford to put a bit more up. But, you know, when you're saying I will pay an extra £500 a month in, that's £6,000 net. Yeah. So I've got to bring in an extra 10k to make that. That's a big commitment financially. Yeah. So I was aware of that, and it probably took me a little bit of time to come around to it. I was probably a bit of a miser, because I was just kind of like, well, we both live in the house, it's 50-50, you know. And then
I'm like literally the opposite of you. I'm like, when I'm making more, I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, we need to get nappies, and I'll just come back with like huge boxes of nappies, like loads of them, and like we need wet wipes, so I just get like a room full of wet wipes. So I like to, or like, we need a new rug. I love buying like spur of the thing moments where she's like, oh, we need some groceries. I'm like, I got it. So I like to like pay for
well, I paid for all our holidays this year. So we've been on a couple of holidays. I pay for those, you know, so I do those bits. But with the house, it was kind of just like, it's down the middle. We both agreed to live in this house. We both knew what the costs were coming in. We should split that.
I agree,
you know, that's how I've always approached it personally, because I just think it removes like this is my house, not yours. Or, you know, if you're not 50-50 on the household bills, I think sometimes it can be a bit like, I own this house.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, and when it comes to mortgages, and if you split up, it can get real nasty then, where the person's like, well, actually, I paid a third more than you over the lifetime, so I'm going to get more. And then I think I'm all about the cleanness if it goes wrong. But I do get that I earn a fair bit more than her now, so I pay more, and I'm fine with that. And I do think it's the right thing to do, to support her, because you're a team, aren't you? And you're stronger as a team, and one day maybe she's going to earn more than me. But it's hard to have those conversations, because she doesn't like talking about them. Over WhatsApp is probably better.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, do you like sit down in the living room and I couldn't think of anything more daunting than sitting down like once a week and having like, let's get all the finances out and like investments and bills.
I'm there with like the typewriter and
you got a little whiteboard. Excel spreadsheet and your whiteboard and everything. Yeah, no, I'm just like, what do we need to pay? I got it.
Well, Marissa said to me, like, if you ever need to have a difficult conversation with a child, say, like, you need to ask them about something that's happened at school or whatever, you know, like, but you don't want to look them in the eye because it's a bit intimidating. You sit them in the back of the car and you drive, and they'll tell you, because they're in the back. They feel more comfortable to talk because you're not kind of looking them in the eye. And I guess the WhatsApp conversation's a bit like that. If you've got a partner that doesn't like talking about money, maybe say, well, have a chat over WhatsApp about it. You know, the whole like breaking up with someone over WhatsApp.
Savage. I think that's slightly different, David. It's like, yeah, it's been a great 7 years. See you around.
By the way, I'm keeping the house because I paid 10% more than you did.
You can have the dog.
See ya.
Bye. Peace. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Good advice. WhatsApp
Or sit him in the back of the
yeah,
car.
get the missus in the back of the car. So where are we going? Just driving around the
Get in
block.
the boot. We need to talk.